Hey everyone, I wanted to share another story with y'all. I have in my life experienced what is commonly known as sleep paralysis a few times in my life, or shall I say actually several times in my life. I have figured out through my own experiences that it happens mainly whenever we're making progress and we're taking a certain action that is like powerful or really good, and the enemy doesn't want you to go that route, so they attack you in your sleep in order to dissuade you from going that route. The earliest time I can actually remember dealing with, like, one of the first episodes of it was probably at least 10 years ago. I'm not sure exactly. No, it's actually probably a bit further back. Probably whenever I was 20, around that time. I still don't know exactly what caused it, and I remember very little from that. Just the fact that I got stuck in between and I couldn't get out. Some of the most recent ones was probably a few years back. I began praying for a close friend of mine, for her to come to know Christ, and during that time, whenever I was praying for her, I got stuck in the middle and I couldn't get out. And it was the first time in a long time, probably since whenever I was 20-ish. And whenever I was in that in-between state, I started crying out for God, and he, I got released after crying out to him for a couple seconds. And that continued for a little bit until I almost got to the point, because it during this specific time, it happened that during the specific time it was actually happening, I almost got to the point of being able to take control in the dream. Now, mind you, whenever I'm dreaming, I'm very rarely lucid. I can only remember a couple times in my entire life and these were actually kind of recent times within the last year or so, that I became either partially or fully lucid, but I am still very inexperienced with that. But in this one, it happened during this period of time a few years back, it happened so frequently in a matter of a couple months that I knew that if it happened again, I would be able to take control. And it didn't happen. After the last time. There was another time that was actually whenever I was helping with a youth group. I got stuck in between, and because the dream was actually showing a potential spiritual attack coming against me and the youth leader, or the youth pastor. And in that, from what I can remember, the youth pastor told me, in the dream, that it was a spiritual attack, and instantly I pulled out, but then I got stuck in between, and I cried out to Jesus and everything like that to get myself out. And then another time, this was probably, I want to say, in 2016-ish, maybe 2017, I'm not really sure. I had just, that day, released one of the teaching on, it was either demons or demonology, one of the first, and I plan on doing another more in-depth teaching later on. But I suffered an attack that night when I was crashing at his house, and I was warned to get away from the certain area, but I didn't move in time, and I felt the dense energy, the dense presence of the spirit come out of this cave that was looking at from a distance in the dream, and I literally felt it rush up to me. And when that did happen, I just felt like my life force, my breath was being sucked out of me. And I'm pretty sure that I almost died that night. It came pretty close because, like I said, and anyone who has experienced or has experience with sleep paralysis and dealing with those demons that try to kill you in the night, they basically try to suffocate you or do other methods of killing you while you're sleeping, that you can't move. You're basically helpless. So as this thing was like pulling out the energy in my spirit, my breath, whatever you want to call it, I literally just felt like my life was being sucked out of my body. I took like this deep breath while I was in between, and I literally screamed Jesus to the point where like I was screaming as I came out of it. Like whenever I came fully awake into the waking world, I came out screaming, and I was actually surprised that my friend didn't hear me at all. They were just sound asleep, and I knew that I knew at that point that it was, that I had done a good thing, that that the enemy was trying to scare me to not continue what I was doing. And I've learned that whether it was who I was praying for, whether it was a teaching I was put out, or if I was taking a step in faith, and the enemy was trying to scare me, I've learned that to me that if the enemy doesn't want you to continue, they're gonna try to scare you so you won't go ahead with that. Those few examples and stories are the only ones I can think off the top of my head. I've had other experiences, but I'm not really sure if they were really sleep paralysis, or because I've had one or two where I had a dream and I got information I didn't like, and I instantly, it's like a normal thing. I'm very rarely lucid, so I noticed that whenever something happens, I'll automatically go to pull out, and that's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. Pull myself out. But then I've had a time before where I stayed in the middle, and then I went back in after a minute, and I'm not really sure if that was a sleep paralysis thing or not. But anyone who does experience sleep paralysis, I urge you to pursue the Father, pursue Jesus, to get to the bottom of it, to find out why you're experiencing, why the enemy is trying to scare you from going a certain route, or why it's happening in general. And I pray that anyone who is experiencing it or has before in the past to not be afraid. The only thing I've been able to find, and even the stories I've heard, those who have experienced it, I've only done, the experiences that I've dealt with, I've only screened out forgotten Jesus, just because that's my go-to, since, the Most High. But I know that there are those who don't have a religious upbringing, and y'all know I'm not religious, not in that way at least, but those who haven't had the upbringing I have and have tried different methods while they're stuck in between to try to get out, nothing works except for calling out for Jesus. But again, I speak and pray that those who deal with this will seek the help in whatever manner that they are able to. If you want to get in touch with me, just hit me up on Facebook or message me in my email or on my website, and I'll be able to help you out the best I can. But yeah, until the next podcast, until the next video, I hope everyone stay safe out there, and I wish everyone the best. And don't forget to check out the 2 other stories I'll link here. There we go. Check those out, and I have more stories to share with y'all to come. Again, everyone, stay safe.